Hillary and Anna Shakespeare sisters with Chris Gordon on Hell Plays Abyss.
And I'm Johnny Lucas here on Hell Plays Abyss with Chris Gordon.
Hey everyone, I have the honour and the company again of Hillary and Anna, the Shakespeare sisters, and also with Johnny Lucas, who is starring in their latest film as well, which is Much Ado. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
It's good to be back.
Okay, yes, of course, because we did speak, as obviously we've just been talking all about that about 2 years ago. I think we spoke about your inaugural film, which was Soundtrack to 16. Which has done really well as well, I believe. And it's out in the US. Is it this month it comes out in the US or next month?
About 12 days. Yeah, 12th of April. So really a bit longer. 2 weeks, yeah. Pretty soon.
Oh, wow. Well, that's exciting. Has that been slow? We've had COVID in between all that as well. So yeah, it's nice. It's great to see it going out there. Obviously, it's been in the UK for 2 years and it's rounds there as well. So
we did a lot of US festivals audience. And stuff. So yeah, we did it an odd way around because we started the festivals, then we came out in the UK, and then we started getting more festivals like abroad. So yeah, it kind of had a bit of a festival life for like a couple of years. So
nice. Can't go wrong with a 2 year long festival life. That's
It's never been online. So yeah, we had the in-person American ones near the end. So the last one we did was in November. We did Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival, and that was fun.
Oh, nice.
Finally back in the cinema, so that's cool.
Brilliant. That's great as well. I say now we're kind of getting to that end. The films can come back out in the cinemas now and people can see it on the big screen like they're supposed to, which is fantastic. So you guys are here now about the film Much Ado, which is, I believe, it's a modern telling of the very famous Shakespeare Much Ado About Nothing, but using the original language and the original dialogue. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, okay. It's kind of like everyone's speaking in Shakespeare, but we've kind of like set it in the modern day. So we've like tried to make that feel natural. Yeah.
How hard is that to do? And also, and Johnny, for an actor as well, when you're trying to do it in modern, I mean, there's quite a few plays on theatre do that kind of thing now, but how hard is it to actually film? And you're all in modern dress, you're all in modern scenarios, and then you're still has to thou, the proper good old Shakespearean.
Well, so I studied Shakespeare at university because I did English. So I've already got a bit of a sort of head start in terms of Shakespeare just by having had the privilege of being able to read and study the play a bunch before I actually started acting in it. But people talk a lot about how there's a timelessness to Shakespeare's language. And I think that's definitely true. And all the themes in it, in this play, and many of his others as well, do have that sort of timeless quality. And to an extent, you don't really need to update anything for a modern audience, because as long as everything's clear with the context, it's actually basically like modern English.
Yeah, I feel like it takes a while to kind of get used to the feeling of the language. Like I think I kind of found it similar to like when I watch a play in German where like I spend like 20 minutes just working out like where I am. And then you kind of like hit your stride and then you're just in it. So I think it's always going to be like harder the first kind of 10, 15 minutes, especially to kind of just get your bearings. But then once you're in it, you're just in it emotionally. But I guess I think in terms of modernizing it, we, not only tried to adjust it for today, but it was also kind of our take on it. So we wanted to kind of change, I guess it was mainly like change it in an interpretation. And so it is like really different from, I guess any other version, they're all different, but I think ours is quite radically different from a kind of traditional version you might see at the Globe or something. And because it was also, they're set amongst a group of teenagers / university students, it kind of made it, it's a lot younger, like the whole play. So, I guess that was kind of our take on it.
Okay, cool. You got that theme going through, haven't you, with films based around teenagers and that sort of part of life that you're going through. I think we spoke about this on Soundtrack to 16, but obviously with this one coming out now, there seems to be that you've got that kind of theme of utilising that age of, I guess, adolescence and life.
I think we just really like coming of age films and that kind of, and like teen movies, I guess rom-coms and stuff as well. So I think those are just the kind of films we want to make. So we end up kind of bringing that to the films that we're making. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I think it is a kind of a coming of age film from Hero's perspective. So we kind of saw it as she was the youngest kind of character and actor, and that was kind of the coming of age story in it. Although, yeah, it's a little bit older than the age range of Soundtrack to 16, but everyone kept asking us, "Are you going to make like a Soundtrack to 17?" And like this was kind of like a couple of years ahead of that. But yeah.
Okay, cool. And I know you have got it. Like you say, you've made it your own unique version of it, which is different. And one of those is the fact that you're all set in a house, which during filming you didn't leave. You had to all live together as well.
It wasn't like you're not allowed to leave.
Well, yeah, you've got armed guards on the door.
And I would be so jealous when they left. Like, oh my God, you guys are going for a beer. I wish I could go for a beer.
Or someone's like going to the shops and I was like, oh, maybe I should go to the shops. And I was like, oh no, I don't.
It's like, no, you're not allowed. Yeah, it was intense, like all living together, because we spent about three weeks to a month all in the same house, and people would come and go, but there would be at max like 30 of us. So you had 18 in the cast, really small crew. But yeah, it would be like quite a hectic kind of environment, but also I guess everyone got to know each other so well, which was really nice. And everyone kind of mucked in, like, you get the actors to like move stuff as well. It wasn't like, oh, I can only do my one job. It was like everyone was helping out.
Cooking dinner.
Yeah, cooking dinner.
Nice. It does sound quite crazy. And Johnny, how did you sort of get around the feel that one as well? I think that makes a better feel in a film because you all get closer together. That's why I loved I think I told you that last time when I speak to independent filmmakers. I think that I find them so much better because I think there's much more of a closeness between the cast and crew, and that echoes on screen when you see it, that relationship and that chemistry.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think spending about almost a month in close proximity with your actors, most of whom you've never met before, and you sort of meet for the first time when they're just pretending to be other people, and then you're sort of living with them, so you just put on character, come out of character, and be like, what's for dinner? And it makes for quite an intense but very enjoyable way to get to know people, as well as working with them, I've got to say, because you get a real sense for sort of their natural like rhythms of life and how they, I mean, if there even can be such a thing on a film set, if that's not a total opposite. But yeah, no, it was a really, really good experience in terms of like living with everyone together. Yeah, it made it feel very communal, which is nice.
Excellent. It does sound great. I say that's the best experience. I usually say to get to know someone is to throw them together in a situation like that. Anyway, it brings out I guess it brings out the best. It can bring out the worst in people as well. When you might have had a bad day, there's no escape for anyone else.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get like alone time, I guess. When you're in it, so totally. But I guess that kind of, I don't know.
There's bits where me and Anna were sharing a bed because there was quite limited bed space anyway, and we'd like wake up in the middle of the night, like having like code dreams, like synchronized dreams, being like, Anna, they're filming. They're filming in my room. Oh no!
Yeah, it was so weird because like I'd be asleep, and then Hillary would wake me up and be like, Anna, it's embarrassing that you're asleep. Like we're filming, you're just asleep, and I was like, oh my God, I'm asleep while we're filming, and then the two of us would like. Yeah, it was so weird. I don't know how it happened more than once as well. But like, I think we just started to forget what was like life and what was sleep because there wasn't very much sleep. So it felt wrong when you slept. It was like, this is crazy. But yeah, I've caught up.
See, that might not be you worrying about that. That might actually come out on an outtakes thing from the cast. Might just put their little outtakes video on where they have actually just videoed you guys asleep as well. You were being filmed at the time to add an extra deleted.
I can promise you, I know nothing of that.
Oh gosh! So yeah, as I say, with the film as well, you've got quite a nice cast in there. I've looked at the trailer as well. It does look really sort of exciting and fresh. And I mean, I was talking about the Shakespearean language before, and I had to watch it a couple of times to actually realise that you were in, like you said, Johnny, as well. You get that mix. You couldn't actually really tell because it flows so nicely and so naturally, and obviously so well said that it doesn't matter what scenario we're in. I think it's about twice I was like, oh, actually, yeah, the dialogue is real Shakespeare in there, just because it just fits so well. So it looked. I can't wait to watch the film fully, because it does look really fresh and really, really exciting to watch.
Thanks. Yeah, it was like, I think there were kind of some challenges with doing it as well, because I think everyone kind of, especially with you, Johnny, because Johnny done mostly like theatre before, I think. So he had to always be like, just say it like don't like, we had to keep talking to everyone, being like, don't perform it at all, like just like say it like you would say, like, I don't know, anything in normal life. So it was kind of like
it's kind of getting like readjusting our heads for like, actors doing Shakespeare to like actors doing film, and kind of trying to merge those two. And obviously everyone comes with their own ideas as well about how the Shakespeare should be and what they've seen before. I guess like when we were doing Soundtrack to 16, it was like we were always the authority on like whatever we'd written. Whereas with Shakespeare, like other people would be like, oh, I think he meant this. And then we had to keep being like, throw away, all of that. Like whatever he meant, just throw it away. And like, I'm telling you, in this scenario, it means that. So it's kind of like, you have to kind of readjust everyone's brains to like our kind of interpretation of it and get them all.
Yeah.
But I think that's always a bit with a film, like you have that period of time where you're just trying to like put your vision onto everyone else, and you have to kind of do it for so long before they actually get to the same place you are, because you've been thinking about it for so long, and you forget what you said and what you haven't said. And then sometimes you're like, oh, you didn't even realize this that I forgot to tell you earlier. And then so it's kind of like you need so much of that time, and thank God we had like rehearsals this time around, because that really helps, because then you have a little bit more time to just adjust, especially before the actors start rehearsing. Like if they have your ideas before that, it's so much harder to change if they've rehearsed it one way. But with the rehearsals, it really helped.
Yeah, we were so pressed for time. I remember one time we had this walk to the station with Harris, who plays the friar, and we were like telling him our vision for the friar, and we were so glad later that we ended up talking to him about it on that walk, because we didn't have another time to rehearse with him. So we came in to do it, and it was like, oh, luckily he already knows our vision.
It was like a 5-minute chat, and then he was like, okay, so this is like the friar's first gig kind of thing, and I was like, yeah, exactly like that. And then he had it all like prepared for the time he came. It's like, yeah.
So how did it take 3 weeks, did you say it was, that you filmed this all in?
Yeah, around about, yeah. I mean, slash a month when you take like days off and stuff in, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really time constrained then, I guess, like you just said. So I can imagine how difficult that was now and then, like you've just explained. But rehearsal is good to have the rehearsals in there, and I guess I'm trying to think of what I was going to go back as well, because talking about this way Shakespeare, like you said, people can come across in the way it does have it. You've got your own interpretations and your own visions of it. So it's to see it. I'm just repeating what you just said, to be honest, guys. It's just like that. How difficult you found it to obviously come down and give your vision of that, how it's said, because other people have probably grown up thinking, oh, it meant this or that. And I've got to say, I did Shakespeare in school, and I did that A-level, and I was that drama and stuff like that, and with my florets in my hands again. I seem to do this a lot lately. Sorry. I've noticed that now in all my videos lately. You can see my hands doing this. It's great. I'm just getting to that age, I think. But the thing is, since I've heard, I've got to say, it's unfortunate, for like Richard III, for example, it's like, I can't do that soliloquy, now is the winter of our discontent. I can only say that in the voice of Peter Sellers now. I've heard Peter Sellers. I can't say, even when I look at it now, I know them, you can talk through it and stuff like that, but I've just got to say, it's just an off the totally random remark. It's something like that. I've always got Peter Sellers in my head, and I add that to the Shakespeare now. I can't help it. I try and just like, now, it's like, that in the hard day's night. It's just, never mind.
Well, sometimes actors do just own lines.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
sometimes actors do just own lines. It's I guess the other extreme would be something like Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, I'll be back. And you can't imagine that, like in, I don't know, David Williams saying that just wouldn't work.
No, you're right, yeah. And was it Peter? Oh, it's a hard day's night. It's been a hard day's night, yeah. It just comes on, it's just
been a hard.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And again, as I say, there have been, like you mentioned, it's great to see your fresh take on it, as we've already said, because I've seen other, not much ado about nothing, but I've seen other modern versions of Shakespearean plays as well, and they've some of them have worked well and some of them haven't. So it's nice. I do like your interpretation of bringing it to that sort of younger teens and in the house and obviously they're stuck in the house with the rugby team, which is there, and that big mix of characters there. Because you can see, so I think it's been Macbeth and things like that, where they brought it in, it's modernized. And I'm not going to say which production it was. I just didn't think it worked that nicely because of that. And I think that it didn't flow nicely. But this one, obviously, your film does actually seem to have that nice flow between it. And I think, again, that character and the actors and the crew being able to sort of live together and understand each other probably really, really contributed to that. I just ramble about the same stuff over and over again, don't I?
Well, I guess we were trying to just set it in real life and just kind of set it in, like, I guess if this was happening to us and these were our friends, like, how would it be? If it was like just translated into the language of Shakespeare, but, just trying to take that and put it in our own life. That's what we were kind of trying to envision.
And I guess I always see it's like it's a slightly alternative world. Like you can't, I guess it's hard because it's like, it's not a total just modernization, because they are speaking this weird language and they are obviously behaving in like slightly not modern ways. But I think it's kind of, if you accept that going in, like the wackiness of it, then you can kind of just go all the way through. It's kind of the suspension of disbelief for a bit, but I think it's slightly otherworldly, I think, with all Shakespeare. And I think, we kind of, I guess as well with all the way we like kind of did it visually as well, we felt it was aiming for like really bright colours and kind of a bit of a, like Hillary always said, like jelly baby feel. Like it's almost like, just slightly otherworldly, I think, as well.
Well, the vibrancy, the colour schemes. Again, I say the trailer that just came straight out was just like these really vivid colours coming out. I was like, okay, this is. You guys have got that. It's the same with soundtrack to 16. You captured the teen angst really, really well. So I can imagine that's obviously the same sort of thing. Obviously older teens and early 20s, because there's definitely a vibe about that. Because I remember when I was at uni. So and the kind of attitude and vibe we had around then. When it came to, I couldn't imagine myself in a house with 30. Actually, I probably spent quite a few times in a house with 30 people, to be fair. I just can't remember it. But I can, so, to have that vibe, to make it an everyday situation, an everyday story that, the average people like us can actually, I want to say average, sorry, that's yours. Not being demeaning, I think, but the normal people, should I say, rather than like you flamboyantly. I'm getting myself into digging a hole. I
guess it's usually set in like Italy as well, so that was another thing where like ours is obviously like British countryside, and you've got like I guess most of the versions we've watched are like set in.
There's
Italy
we used to love the Joss. We loved like the Kenneth Branagh one we used to watch all the time. That's set in Italy, and then like there's also the Joss Whedon version. So it is like a third film adaptation. But and I do really like the other
with a
ones.
lot less of a budget.
A lot less budget,
and not a famous director.
But it's like I guess I think it has, those two are quite different to each other, and I think this is about as different again in terms of. Like even not taking into account the budget, like just in terms of like where it's set and how it's set. It's just kind of more like a teen movie vibe, I guess, is how we saw it. So
excellent. And budget doesn't really come into it as well, because when you've done it right, like you guys do, it does. You can't see. I know you've I've not seen the full film yet, so I'll reserve that right. No, I'm joking. But obviously, you're not going to. There's, you get all the massive like Hollywood films with millions and millions thrown at special effects and lighting, and they can, like you say, they can get the Kenneth Branaghs and the and Spielbergs and stuff down there to throw their light in, and it's like, but there's no difference to you guys. You guys are really, really good at your game. At what you've done, and so it's it does come across. It doesn't matter what the budget is I'm trying to say, because it comes across so well as a story that people don't think of stuff like that when you're watching it.
Oh, thanks.
I was trying to think, I can't really think of anywhere in the film as I've seen it where like a VFX budget or like a green screen would have actually been necessary. Maybe you could have just like inserted me post hoc into the film, like fully 3D animated.
More Johnny would have been.
Yeah.
If we had the budget for more Johnny, he would have been in every scene.
Oh, some meteor, green screen with a meteor in the background or something flying over, like
brilliant.
Just to show you got those VFX in there. So, Johnny, what character do you play in the film?
I played Benedick. He's I've got to say he's a bit of a dick at the start of the play, and I'm not sure he's much better at the end of the play, except that he's found love, which is supposed to redeem him. I guess I'll leave it up to you whether or not that redeems him completely. But yeah, he's I think he's the way I sort of thought of him as I was rereading the play and sort of as we went into filming was he's like a class clown who's grown up. But sort of physically, but not really emotionally in a lot of ways. And so he's always sort of taking the piss. Sorry, can I swear in this or not? I'm not.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So yeah, he's always taking the piss, and he's always sort of like he's like the energetic core of a group by trying to pull pranks and stuff. And then he's suddenly faced with this dilemma of like, oh God, wait, maybe I do actually really love her. Maybe I should do something about this. And he's not really sure how to behave seriously. It's not really, and despite the fact that in the play he's been to war, like this is a guy who's fought and presumably killed people, and yet he still doesn't really know how to present himself in a sort of emotionally serious way. And I think that again is another part of the timelessness of it, because quite often men do struggle with that kind of thing in today's society, and obviously back then as well, presumably. That sort of how do you make yourself vulnerable and honest while still sort of composing yourself with self-dignity.
I'm 46 and I've got no self-dignity left. I still struggle.
Oh God, that does not bode well for me.
I was like 46 going on 18, I think.
So I remember that you said that you thought Benedick was a dick, because I remember saying I really thought you were similar to Benedick, and then that really insulted you.
No, that's okay. I am quite self-aware. I know I can be a bit of a dick. So.
I mean, we ultimately love, I guess
I like Benedick.
Yeah, I mean, Benedick was also probably one of your first crushes when you went back and saw that play a million times.
Yeah.
I think he's such a sort of hot character personally. I mean, I don't know if I'm just love that teen movie character, which I actually think he is similar to the bad boy, reformed. So yeah, I was loved Benedick. He's my favorite character.
I mean, I do think he is a bit of a dick, but I mean, he definitely is immature. But I think he's someone that's really nice deep down, but being immature because he doesn't know, he's afraid of seeming, what's the word, insecure.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a front. I don't think he's deep down a dick. I think he's just acting like a dick at the start, and then
what's the difference?
Beatrice in, he learns that he can let some of his niceness out.
Yeah.
Cool. It's a bit a really crazy analogy, a bit like Danny Zuko in Grease then.
Yeah.
John Travolta's character. He's a bit of a dick at the start, isn't he? And he falls in love and he sort of turns it around and suddenly, matures a little bit because he's too afraid to lose his coolness with his friends, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly that. It's the same trope, I guess, which is.
But instead of racing hot rods, instead of racing hot rods, I write poetry instead.
Exactly. It's I got random analogies. It's fine. Don't worry. So obviously with this itself is coming out. I think this is April the 1st. This one's out, isn't it? And you're just premiering at the London Film Festival. London Film Festival. Yeah, it was just Friday this week.
Yeah, coming up really soon now. Yeah.
You're excited for that?
Yeah, really excited. It's gonna be crazy because the cast haven't seen it before, Like me and Hillary are the only ones who've seen the most recent version. So
yeah, we showed a few people the rough cut. I think Johnny's seen a rough cut, right? But,
yes, I have.
But yeah, it's going to be the first time for most of them to see it. So I hope they like it. And at the same time, as a like cinema for the people. So
yeah, I mean, it's always thrilling. It's always nerve-wracking at the same time. Like I kind of prefer if I can not be in the cinema, but I probably will be in there. But just in terms of like feeling sick with stress, I just feel like you sit there and you're just like, oh my God. But it's so valuable to like see how people react and like what they react to, and
especially the first few viewings. Like I remember with Soundtrack 16, it was like each screening is quite different, and like you can really pick up on the vibe of the audience about which bits they're enjoying and which bits are like maybe like they're not related to as much. And,
like,
I mean, not that we can really change it now,
like friends and family, and then like people who we totally didn't know, and then like children, and then like loads of different audiences where you're just like, this is a completely different vibe, and it can feel sometimes like a totally different film depending on how the audience react. Sometimes I've been like, oh, this is quite funny, and sometimes I've been like, oh God, it's not a great vibe in here. Maybe I don't know, this is okay. And yeah, you kind of that's why it's scary. But
we had this school trip viewing Soundtrack 16 because it was at like a German children's festival, so they were all coming on their school trips, and there was like one where they were all like quite young and very sweet and enjoyed it and asked lots of questions, and then there was one where they were all teenagers. And like, I think they were all just trying to be cool, and no one wanted to ask questions. And then it got to the Q&A, and they were like asking questions, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is so lame. Why are we here?" I was like standing there in silence, like, "Oh God, please don't hate me." Yeah. So I think every time, premiere or not, it's scary, but I am also really excited for the cast to see it, and I think it's going to be quite a big night. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm super excited, but also quite nervous. It's going to be, I think I'm going to be sort of 50% like looking at the screen, and then 50% like sort of scouting and scoping like what like my friends and family are saying, and thinking like, are they laughing at this bit? Is this bit good? Yeah.
See, that's what I'd be like the whole night. I'd be just like peering at people. I'd be putting people off because I'd just sat there staring at everybody to see what to see how they're reacting to it.
I sometimes wonder how like theatre actors do it, like to be acting in front of your friends, and then like, what if it's not going down well as you're doing it? That must affect the performance, right?
Mm.
That's different. I feel it's always quite easy. I found it easier when I was doing like theatre stuff at uni to just carry on and plow on regardless of the vibe, because you sort of create this barrier sort of where the stage starts and the audience ends. But whereas sort of being a part of the audience, but also being part of what is ever on screen is a really weird blend. I have no idea how like emotionally I'm going to sort of comport myself to deal with that.
Have a few drinks beforehand.
Yeah.
Sure. And after.
Yeah. Emphasis on the few.
A few before, then plenty after the after party. Excellent. Okay, is there anything else you're working on at the moment as well? I know there is. You guys are working on something, and I'll see if Johnny's working on something as well.
So there's a couple of things we've got in the works. So we're halfway through shooting a film called The Unreason, which is a sci-fi comedy, and that's been really fun. It's all set in Muswell Hill, so it's about these two women who own a vintage shop in Muswell Hill, and they stumble across this time machine and basically use it to get stuff for their shop to sell. But then obviously things go terribly wrong with time travel, and it all gets out of hand. So that's been really fun, and we've had some great comedy actors in there. We had like Johnny Vegas and Sophie Thompson and Tom Lake, Van Bevell. And Tony Way as well, who's in Afterlife. So had a great shoot, and we're going to go back in this month. So that's going to be a crazy like Much Ado coming out, going back to shooting combo. And we've also been writing a script for a book adaptation we're doing, which is the book's called The Upside of Unrequited, and it's by an author called Becky Albertalli, whose first book was made into Love, Simon. So it's also kind of YA teenage romance, and it's also about a sister relationship. So that's quite sweet for us because obviously, been through it all. So
everyone's kind of going back to like the same vibe of Soundtrack 16 because it's kind of like another like people have their first kiss, like first romance kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Territory.
It's actually really similar to Soundtrack 16, but set in America with different things going on as well. but yeah, we were like pitching to her. We were like, this is really similar to our film in a way. So yeah,
fantastic, cool, thank you, Johnny. How about yourself?
I've taken a brief break because at the end of April I'm off to America to do this mammoth hike where I'm walking through the desert for 380 miles with a friend.
Wow, that is mad.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
I'm glad it wasn't happening at the beginning of April.
Yeah, me too. It's been timed rather well, actually, all things considered. But yeah, we've looked up some of the like local. This is completely off topic of the podcast. Sorry. But yeah, basically, if I survive and from that trip and I come back with like all my limbs in one piece, then I'll be auditioning for stuff again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good thing to be doing. Good break. 300.
Love it. What's next for you, Mammoth Hike?
So anything else you want to say before I finish recording? Something you'd like to say to people who are watching or listening?
Have we said Genesis Cinema yet? Because that's when.
I haven't mentioned the Genesis yet.
Yeah, so the Genesis Cinema, which is Bethnal Green, and Stepney Green is also close station. If you're wondering how to navigate,
you walk down the street,
get out the tube. But
you should definitely come if anyone hears this before it's the 1st of April, because we're going to have a big after party. It's like festival opening drinks plus the film. Yeah, it's going to be a good night.
Plus the film.
Put the film in with the drinks. Yeah. Brilliant. Johnny, about yourself, anything?
No, just come along on April 1st if you're hearing this and you've got a free Friday evening. It's going to be a hell of a time. You'll laugh, you'll cry. It'll change your life, definitely. Might be my life too, who knows.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.